because of the changes that we're going to do. It's first part, and second part, we really believed and believe now that wipe is something that a lot of players want, and I have posted the current results of the poll in AMA General. I think quite a few people saw it. I can repost it anywhere else. So right now it's 1,300 people against the wipe, and 2,800 people, more than twice, are for the wipe. So our expectations met your expectation that most of people want a wipe. And what's important to say that people who voted were the people who are actually playing, but there are a lot of players who are not playing but wishing to return, or there are a lot of players who are new players, and for those type of players we believe that wipe will also be a good news because there will be a new map, new opportunities. They will be able to join the gold rush the same way as everyone joined it more than a year ago on Golden Land. So short answer, wipe is was not necessary, but it was a good thing to do from the development and perspective. And the second thing, that wipe is something that a lot of people, majority of people, are looking forward to. I'm done with this question.
You can.
Hmm? Ili?
Sitting here.
Wow, Ili, you're lagging. Oh, is it Discord lagging?
Could have been mean. Better now?
Okay, so it seems I'm lagging because I almost didn't hear you.
Okay, now
Oh yeah,
I
somebody
changed
said.
something. I
Okay.
get a few PMs that they couldn't hear me as well. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better now. I can hear. I
Okay,
can
I
hear.
really don't like Discord voice.
Mm.
I avoid to use it
Well,
whenever I can. Um, wait. So many messages, PMs in different channels that were about doing the wipe now instead of letting us sit here and await the wipe that will come in 1 week. That's just a week that is almost like lost time for us because we know that almost everything that we do now is like lost time and lost progress, except for the skills.
hmm
So what about that? What about doing the wipe earlier?
well, first of all, it's not a week till the wipe, because if everything goes well, we plan to make the wipe in the middle of the next week, so like in a couple of days. So it less than a week. That's first point. Second point, you said it right, that you can still raise your skills and stats, and they will not be wiped.
Mm-hmm.
And third of all, well, according to my experience and experience of many other players, mostly from Life is Fiddle Your Own times, wipe or pre-wipe period is a time for have all going fun and like spending all your resources and everything on whatever you wanted but couldn't afford before. So I'd say for a lot of players, and I saw that feedback, it's time to go Breaking Bad. Just make sure that your karma will not be harmed, because karma will not be wiped. Alignment.
Uh,
So, in few words, wipe will be soon, and those couple days that you can just have fun, all out fun.
just enjoy the time that we have here on this garden. Okay. Um, Middle of next week. That is also one of the other questions that we can close for now. Um, you will wipe the map or the map basically, but you won't wipe the characters. What is the reason for that? Why don't we start all over?
Mm. The main reason probably that I'm getting too old and not so hardcore. No, I mean seriously, we wanted to keep something for players, and we believe that keeping skills is it's a good thing, especially coped with the fact that we're going to increase the skill cap. So we don't want everyone to waste all their hard-earned 100 level skills, and they're going to be left. I mean, we cannot do that with our castles because it will not be fair. But with our skills, it's we believe it's fine. And since we are going to shuffle underground, all the ores underground, and yeah, all the ores underground and quality of the upper levels will be shuffled. So I'd say that will create a new, will force players to find the new places for their bases because probably there will be no ore in the place where they are going to settle now.
Mhm.
If they're going to settle at the same spot they were before the wipe. So I believe that everything all together should create a new experience without demanding you to grind everything from the scratch. So we believe that it's a good compromise to keep skills, but while wipe just a map.
All right. The skill cap. Another big question. We had the removal of the skill cap in the April dev news,
Oh,
April 2.
no,
Um,
no, no. No,
no,
it's not removal of skill cap.
no,
It,
no,
it will
that
be
was
significantly increased. Yeah.
yeah, that was just the part of the April's joke, and I've seen that question many, many times in the help chat.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
No.
the
Oh,
skill cap.
okay. Sorry to interrupt you. Just loud and clear, guys. We are not going to remove skill cap completely. We're going to significantly increase it.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah,
Can
that's. Mhm.
can you already reveal what the new skill cap will be? And will it be the same for all three pages? So custom,
Skill
combat, and
cap.
minor?
Skill cap will be the same, yeah, but I'm not ready to reveal the exact amount right now.
Okay. Um, Another thing that is yeah, kind of a complaint. You announced the wipe and a patch with a huge amount of changes. And you basically said there will be a combat patch. There will be where's my news? Skill cap increase, instance battle state, provinces and taxes update, and more. That is basically all that you tell us right now. That is not really much because it can mean that you tweak a tiny part of it, or it can be that you completely rework. Will we get a kind of a preview before you actually patch it so that we can prepare for it?
Um, okay, so the question is how significant will be the changes, and will there be a preview of those changes, right?
Yeah, the preview is the more thing that is a concern in the community because right now we don't know what will happen.
Mm-hmm. So I'd say combat patch will be a lot of significant tweaks. I mean, we are not going to make a like completely new combat mechanics. No, no, that's not what we are going to do. But should be a lot of important tweaks, and based on the feedback that our players have provided with all those berserker skills with two-handed weapons and so on and so forth. I don't have a full detailed list in front of me, but you're going to see that in a patch early next week. And as far as the current plan is to keep is to patch the game first, and then make the wipe. But I don't think there will be a lot of time to test it out because some of the changes, the way we prepare them, will require a wipe. So I don't think you will have a lot of time to test it out before the wipe.
Okay. Then just something that comes to my mind right now. The
Hmm.
patch notes are usually a bit delayed, so the servers are usually back online, and then we as players start to check the actual game for the changes, but we don't have the patch notes at that moment.
While you're going
Will
to have them, of course.
okay, a bit earlier than usual. Sounds good.
Yeah. Of course. Patch notes will be a bit later, and they will appear before the wipe, before the well, we're going to expose them before the actual wipe is going to happen.
Okay. Um, just a formality. This is just a normal patch, or would you already call it a major patch, like we had the two earlier?
Uh, yeah, that's a lot of formal question. Um, I wouldn't call it a major patch, but I wouldn't call it like a normal patch. I'd say it's something in between.
Okay.
So if we had 0 to 0, it's 0 to 0.5, something like that.
Okay. Um, Now you just said that you will patch first and then wipe in a second step. I guess the patch will not take that much longer than usual. Um,
Well, I also hope so.
what about the wipe? How long do you expect the servers to be offline?
That's a good question. We hope we should be able to do everything in one day.
Okay. So quite a long downtime for us. Sit here and wait for our game to come back online. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's
but again. So sorry to interrupt you.
mm,
Uh, we have never made a God Online wipe before, and I mean, well, it's significantly bigger map than our previous Avalon map, how we call it. So I mean, there is certain chances that it might take longer than we planned, but still.
okay. Um, Next one. That is a very, very frequent questions. The characters, will
Mhm.
they respawn in a certain place, or will they still stay there where we lock them off?
They will respond. They will respawn on around the protectorates. Basically, the plan is that they are going to respawn on the same respawn locations where you appear once you have traveled from the newbie island on the Golden Land. So everyone will be around those starting villages in the green zones.
Okay, so
And mhm, mhm.
like earlier when we first came to Grönland.
Yes. That's the plan. That's where we want to distribute everyone. And Um, I don't know if you have this question. Probably you have this question, but since we're talking about green zones, we're going to create a buffer around all the green zones, about probably 200 meters or something, and that buffer where nobody will be able to construct anything. We're going. That's one of the reasons why we are doing that is just to prevent all those constructions where available buildings were in a green zone and less valuable buildings were just next outside of the green zone. So right now, you will not be able to create one base that is partly located on a green zone and partly located on the outside of the green zone.
Right. Yeah, that would indeed
So
be
it's not like a yellow zone. It's just a buffer where no one will be able to do anything. Just run around and fight.
okay.
But what I want to say that again, just do not even start about it. If you are engaging someone near the green zone border, you should always expect that they will run to the green zone as soon as they see that they are losing. So just this part will not go anywhere. So just simply do not engage with anyone so close to the green zone if you don't want to be disappointed that they crawled back to the green zone.
Right. That would have been indeed a question in the green zone part.
Hmm.
That's, I think, a good compromise for now. Then let's proceed. The character caps. Now we can have 30 characters on the newbie island and 30 characters on Gordonland. Will it stay like this, or do you plan any changes to that?
Uh, I didn't expect that question. Truth to be told, I haven't seen any feedback or any requests that it has to be changed. So, if you will share with me your insights, I'll be glad to review it. I mean, it's not that hard to increase that cap. Definitely, we cannot decrease it because probably I'm quite sure that there are some accounts that have 30 characters already. But if somebody really needs 50 characters on one account, I mean, okay, it's if there are a lot of such players, we can increase that cap. It
Yeah,
is not that hard to do.
the question would actually have been on decreasing the cap because now we can have a character uh, not on every server on the map, of
Hmm.
course,
Hmm.
but you can have them in several bases to find, fight, and defend several other guilds. So that's I think it's not a common issue because many of us like it to be able to fight here and there and there and as well. But it was
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, you still can do it by just simply logging, creating a new free account. But
yeah. Okay, the characters. In the dev news, you're telling us that we won't lose the skill to the character. Um, that just to be sure means that we will really keep 100% of all our skill points right now.
yes, yes.
What
Skill
about
points and stat points.
okay, and the alignment?
Is going to stay. That's what I said. That
Mhm.
well, when you are going to go Breaking Bad in the next couple of days, make sure that your alignment will not be hurt because alignment will not be reset.
Okay. Also, 3 minor questions about the effects of the herbs will stay.
Effects of the herbs. You're talking about unlocked recipes.
Yeah.
Those going to be. That's actually a good question. I think I need to double check, but I believe they're going to stay.
Okay. What about the XP pools?
Experience pools.
Mhm.
Mm, as far as I know, it's a couple of hours of playing to fill the experience pool. I think they're also going to stay.
Okay. And the learned blueprints from our chars. Will they come over or will you remove them?
Blueprints for what?
Like tier 3 or tier 4 armors or the heavy shield. The blueprints that our
Mm,
chars have learned now.
I think they're going to stay. They should stay.
Okay.
Oh, and actually, I just saw in the chat. There's also one important thing that the current guilds are going to stay, but they all will be disbanded to the band. So that means that guild leaders will be the only members of their guild, but heraldry and well ownership will be preserved. That means there should be no guild guild ceiling, like we had on the start of Godland and some other words before. Um, so just for everyone to make sure that you're going to keep your guild Hellordrian names, but you will have to recruit back all the members you want to recruit.
Yeah. Okay. Um, there we have. Also, I think it's quite clear, but you will wipe 100% of the map. So that includes also the whole green zone.
Yes, yes, of course. Yeah, well,
Okay.
full map wipe. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Um, on your own, there is quite old mechanic now that they are able to wipe only the unclaimed lands. Why is
Mm,
that not a possibility here?
to wipe only the unclaimed lands.
Yeah, so that the bases will basically stay, and you just refresh the land outside from the ruins and the old claims that are not there anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I understand. There were no. We didn't want to beautify our map. We actually wanted to make a full-out wipe. And as I said, there are some reasons why we need it, and that's what we are going to do. And that's what, as I said, majority of players voted for.
Hmm. Okay. Also, Next group of questions is about the premium inventory, as it was called in the dev news.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, from my understanding, that includes everything that is in my store inventory. So skins
Mm-hmm.
and premium outfits and
Mm-hmm.
tickets and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whatnot. They will
Yeah.
completely stay.
Yes, 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 of course. Everything premium related is going to stay and will not be touched. So all the skins, all the God favor coins, all the God favor that's on your account is going to stay. God's coins will be brought back, and decoration kits, we're going to refund the God's favor for all the decoration kits that you have spent on the golden land. So our intention is to keep everything premium except those things that you have already consumed. I mean, all the boosters and everything. Of course, we are not going to refund them because I mean you have used them and you have consumed them.
Mhm.
But we can say so about decoration kits because you have consumed them, but you see a decoration. So that's why we're going to refund the decoration kits. And the rest, like skins and all the premium stuff, is going to stay in your premium inventory as it is.
Okay. You're also going to refund the gods coins that we used this year. I
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, you're right. Like this year, that's right.
Okay. It's just the follow up is probably quite obvious, but why it's only for this year? I mean, many of us have spent a lot of coins during the last year that are basically, yeah, lost in the opinion of many players.
Well, well, they are lost, but you also use them to protect your assets during that time of during that period of time. So I'd say it's rather fair compromise where we refund only this year spent gold coins because some of them, or even most of them, are not spent yet. I mean, they're put inside the outposts, but there is no way how we can. We are not tracking that information. Who exactly? I mean, as soon as you spend God's coins on supporting remote outposts, they are converted into outpost support points, and there is no way we can really easy say who exactly spend them on. So that's why we are refunding all the coins that were spent this year, starting January the 1st, 2020. And but the rest of the spent God's coins they were spent. I mean, they were used on some outposts that are up, though, that are up, or maybe they are not even up yet.
Mhm.
I mean, they might still been already lost or destroyed or whatever.
Okay. The other items that we have, the premium items that we have in our inventories, like the believers items
They
and
should stay. They should stay up.
in the character inventory, or will they also be back in the premium and the store inventory?
No, they should stay. Well, actually, that's a good question. Well, it's either or. I mean, either they're going to stay in character inventory or they will be brought back to the premium inventory. I don't really exactly remember, but the point is that you're going to keep them.
Okay. Um, yeah. Follow up to the inventory questions is about the admin trade post inventories and the normal coins. There were quite a few questions about being at least able to store stuff in the admin trade post and keep some of the coins or maybe all of the coins that we earned in the last year. Is that a possibility or won't that happen?
No, no, we're going to wipe all the no, all the assets on the map, including everything that is put inside the trade posts, well, and trade posts by themselves. They will be just recreated. So no, nothing is going to stay. Economy is going to be reset also.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
Ilya, there was a question in moderation channel.
Yeah, I'm switching between PMs. I
Mhm.
need more.
Yeah, it's in moderation. So the question is, are we going to shuffle regions and region-specific resources like carrots, fish, animals, etc.?
That's
Uh, mhm. No, I'd
actually
say we're. Uh-huh.
That's actually a question that is already on the list, but in the next.
Okay.
But
Well, anyway, the answer is that no, we do not have such plans. I think the current balance of original resources is fine, and there is no reason to shuffle it that much. And
okay.
we are shuffling the underground resources, something that is not obvious, and you have to spend time to discover. But we don't see the reasons to shuffle some resources that you can see on the map how they have changed.
Okay. Um, I think Alexei already wrote something about the premium that we have ongoing right now. So just that everyone can hear it again. What happened to our subscriptions that we have right now? Will they be touched in any way, or will they just
And
go
they're
on
just
normally?
going to they're just going to stay as they are. I mean, yeah, they're going to stay as they are. We are not going to increase. We are not going to decrease them or do anything.
Someone was asking about being able to recreate or at least rename the characters after the wipe, because now we have a lot of characters that are named in a weird way, especially those with the underline at the end of the name that came from the NA servers to the European servers then.
No, well, I don't think you can play with those characters. So the whole purpose of naming such characters was that actually we have a trigger as soon as such character tries to join the world, they are forced to change the name of the
Okay.
character. So I
And
mean, if you have such a character, even now you can log with it, and you will be asked to rename. The reason why it was created because there were some characters that had the same name on European servers and the same name on North American servers, and that's why we made it so those who came from NA will have an underline and will have to rename themselves.
okay. But there are no plans to give us a chance to rename normal characters after the wipe.
No, there's no such plans. No.
Okay.
And yeah, as far as I know, guys, Guise, whatever it's spelled, Guyse, Guise, is still in the premium shop.
Okay. Um, Many of us have spent thousands of hours on Gordonland.
Hmm.
It was at the end, or in the beginning of Gordonland, the veterans from the old worlds became this amulet that um, speed up the crafting as a kind of a small reward. Do you plan to, yeah, compensate or gift something to all the, let's call them new veterans for this wipe?
Mm, I'm not sure I understand the question. So you're asking about if those who didn't play on Gunland, will they have the
Um,
advantage on a new
no,
map? Or
no,
okay.
sorry.
Hmm.
We got a reward for playing on the old worlds where
Hmm.
when you started Gordon. The guys, and I think it was, I'm not actually not sure anymore, 1 month premium or 10K God's favor, something like that.
Yeah, but it's
Um,
that's because the old worlds were destroyed, and that's
okay,
why we rewarded. Because it was not a full world wipe. It's just because we had to compensate to those who were left on the old worlds that we had to destroy, and they had to join the currently running world. I believe we had something of that for Apple Land when we had to close it, and we had some kind of incentive for players who will join Gardenland, running Gardenland.
okay, so no plans to give us any favor or any reward for this wipe.
No, no, no. I mean, no. Again, as I said, that was a way to compensate certain players who have lost, but other players didn't lose anything. So, but now everyone is going to lose everything equally. So I
Okay,
don't see any reasons for such partial compensation.
all right. Um, the wipe is, yeah, again here after a bit more than a year. will there be any more wipes, or do we even plan to do them on a more regularly in general?
Well, again, as always, I'm saying that currently we don't have plans for additional wipes, but I mean, in a year and a half, in 2 years, the whole world might change again the same way how it's changing right now. If you know what I'm talking about, what's happening outside, that we are probably all sitting in our houses now, and it's really hard to plan 2 years ahead in this situation. But I'd say that in the next year at least, we don't have any plans for wipes.
Um, this one. On the Odd Worlds, we had a PvP event with, I think, turned on Judgment Hour all the time before the world went down. Do you plan to
Ah.
do something like that again?
Well, yeah, actually, yeah, it's. Thank you for a reminder. Well, I'll think about. I mean, judgment our system is different right now, as you know, and
Mhm.
it's a setting for every guild. So I don't think we will be able like to enable it 24/7 for everyone, but we'll definitely think about the ways how to make everything more vulnerable and to have more fun. Yeah, that's a good point. That's right.
Okay. Um, sorry.
Hmm.
Um, we all currently have this very mm, let's call it small rule set for Gotland. The rules about not being allowed to black box, even if it was possible, to not to shoot through certain step tech to through certain object. And I think I've read that you're working on a rework on a new version of it. Will you are you reworking the rule set, and will you implement or yeah bring it online with a patch?
So, okay, can you please repeat working on what? So, sorry, I'm probably missed the most important part. So, yeah.
um, the Gardenland rules we have right now.
Hmm. Rules of siege ladders or what?
Yeah, for example, and the black boxing and whatever. Um,
Hmm.
are you
Hmm.
gonna rework them?
Well, we don't see much reasons for that so far.
Okay. So
Yeah, yeah, I think they're going to stay. I mean, there will be some game rules, like game mechanics changes
mhm,
that
so
might affect, but no, no.
yeah, because now I mean I read a lot of players who want to be able or want to be allowed to bug box if there's a possibility,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
are not allowed
No, no.
to, or
It's bark boxing is the question that has appeared since the Life is Fatal Your Own was released, so it's 2014, so it's like 6 years long, and
and
and it's always been asked. Yeah.
now we also have the follow-up rule to that, that we are not allowed or not always allowed to use the biggest siege ladder to actually scale a castle wall
Yeah,
in
it's going to
general.
stay. Yes, it's going to stay.
Um, but there are so many undocumented exceptions for that. You are,
Hmm.
from what I know, allowed to place them on stone walls if the surface
Yeah.
is even. You are allowed to use them to get over um, damaged castle walls. You're allowed to.
Yeah, yeah. You are always allowed to use them against damaged walls, damaged castle walls, and you allowed to use them on existing walls that around the castle wall, even if it's your wall or if it's a wall of opponent that you managed to get on.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's all staying. So
Yeah.
the only rule is that you cannot use them to scale over undamaged castle walls from the ground.
Okay. The problem is the rule set does not say that. So
Well,
that is
yes, and mhm.
the main problem because the rule set says you're can be banned for using siege ladders climb undamaged castle walls, and that's basically it. And all the exceptions are not listed there. So many PvPers, mainly, um, have to, yeah, stay in touch with you, with the supporters, and hope that the answer from the supporter from the last time they asked is still the same as, yeah, right now. And the rule set is just incomplete.
Yeah, well, actually, I tend to agree with you about that. That's actually a good point to make those rules more detailed. Yeah, you're right. But basically, I mean, we create rules, but then we see different situations that we did not expect or did not think about. So we react on them and we say if it's good or not. But yeah, you're right. We should have written we should have updated the rules on the page.
Okay. And
Yeah.
just quite a small follow-up now. Um, will we, as the community, be able to have some impact on those rules? Because I remember back on Avalon, it's been a long time since then, but then we had a vote, a poll about the bug boxing. You removed it, or you yeah, disallowed it. Then we had that poll, and then it was allowed again. Will that ever happen, or do we actually have to live with what you consider as best
Um,
for us?
yeah, that's actually a good question. And I'd say I don't remember. We have here internally within our studio we have a saying, it's a feudal democracy. So somebody makes a vote and then I make a final decision. So basically how it works in feudal times. So but so far I mean, we decided to make a wipe. Everyone was crazy about it. We made a poll and it's actually proved our position. So answering your question, I think it will not hurt to make a pulse on some of those subjects. The only thing that we just don't want to have every day with a new poll, you know. So we need some kind of mechanism to find the most hot topics.
Okay.
And I mean, I personally okay to make like say 2 3 polls about the most hot rules or mechanics that players want to enable or disable.
Okay. That's at least something for us. Um. Okay. That.
And well, actually,
Hmm?
if you don't mind, if you have if you have a list of those hot items, hot topics, just feel free to share with me, and we can work out on some kind of schedule after the wipe to make a polls about changing it.
All right. Okay. That was the main part about the wipe. Let's just go through to the next topic, to the map, and a bit about the green zones. You already said that we will shuffle the resources. The map itself, the shape, will it change anyway? Will it be exactly the same map as we have it right now?
Yeah, it's going to be exactly the same map. The only thing, as I've said, the underground resources are going to be shuffled.
Mhm. Okay.
But it will be the same trees, the same terrain, the same, no, the same as it was when we started the Golden Land.
Okay. Um, the terraforming that was done, do you plan to bring in a mechanic that will ever be able to let the unclaimed terraforming decay? So,
No, well, we don't have such a mechanic, so terraforming decay is not implemented. It's actually not that easy as it sounds. So, I mean, wipe or no wipe, it will not enable the terraforming decay. I
mhm,
mean, of course, just to make sure that I'm being understood completely. I mean, we're going to wipe the map and we're going to reset all the terraforming back to the initial state of Golden Land. But as soon as people will start terraforming, it will stay the same way as it's staying right now, unfortunately.
okay. Um, Right now, it's actually the fact that most of the ores and the underground resources are finite, so they don't respawn. Although there are, of course, some legends about respawning iron ore or clay or something like that. Are you going or are you planning to change that so that we will have a respawn of such underground resources at some time?
No, we don't have plan to respond underground resources. So again, we simply have no such mechanics, and we never planned to have it. So no,
Mhm.
it's going to stay. And I think it should not be a problem now, since we're going to reset all the maps, so all the underground resources will also be like effectively regenerated.
Okay. Um, yeah, quite frequent question is about opening more worlds again, especially for
hmm
the oceanic region and then A or
hmm
SA servers.
hmm
Will that ever come back?
Uh, well, we can do it, and of course, it's a possibility. But right now, I don't think there is a reason to split our population. I mean, I also receive requests for oceanic servers, but I'm afraid it's only like a dozen or maybe a couple dozen of players who are asking for it. It's definitely not enough for the whole new world and for the whole server.
Okay. So, yeah, I actually think I forgot one. Um, since the map will change, there's also no way to return to the Avalon map, the old maps, right?
What about old maps?
Um, we have a lot of players that are asking if we can go back to the old map like we had in
Oh yeah,
the
the
Avalon
smaller.
or
You're talking Avalon map,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's still there on our hard disk drives, and I mean, it, uh, I'd answer this way. Um, it's not hard to restart it. It's not hard to start it. But first point, we don't want to spread the population. I mean, and if we're going to have Golden Land and Avalon map at the same time, it means that there will be less people on each of them. It's first point. And second point, Avalon map was a good map, but there were a lot of level building. No, sorry, level. There was a lot of mistakes that we made when we were designing this map
Mhm.
during the level design. Those mistakes we have fixed on a Golden Land map. So if we're going to everyone should understand that Avalon map was fine and good, but it is worse from level design perspective than the Golden Land map. So there should be a really good reason to resurrect the Avalon map. So far, I don't see those reasons.
Okay. Then back to our current map, to Gotland. We have all time zones now here on the server, and that is mostly a problem for PvP, as we all know.
hmm
Um, are there any chances that you will divide the map into different
hmm
time zones? That is what called.
hmm hmm Well, yeah, I understand what you're asking about. No, there is no chance for that because we didn't design our map to have equal time zones. I mean, equal from the map standpoint, but not different by the time zone that is allowed on this map. So no, there are no such plans.
Okay. Okay, I think now we are coming to mainly the green zone part. You said there will be this buffer zone around the green zones. That will also mean that the green zones
hmm
will, in general, stay.
Yes, they will stay. That's 100% sure.
Okay, will they exactly stay like they are now, or where they are now, in the same size and shape?
Yes, yes, they're going to stay where they're now, exactly in the same place. Everything is going to be the same.
Okay. Um, will there be any yeah benefit of not building as a guild in a green zone. Like, I read a question about removing the drop chance for regional items in the green zones, for example.
No, well, I don't know where it came from, but no, there are no such plans.
Okay. Um, so another problem that we have with the green zones right now is that not all resources, especially what I was reading about, was the what was it, carrot and rye, I think, for
Mhm.
the farmers. Those two crops can't be grown in any green zone.
Mhm.
So you already said you won't change the regions themselves, and probably also not change the rare resources per region.
Mhm.
So it will stay
No,
like this?
well, yeah, it's going to stay like this. So
Okay.
yeah, carrot is an important PvP resource because you'll have to get it from the PvP regions.
Okay. The private claims, of course, in the green
Mhm.
zones. Will you change anything about them? Like making them bigger or changing
No,
the upkeep?
no, we don't, but we don't plan any changes with private claims.
Okay. So we also won't be able to allow private claims on our guild claims again, as long as the guild claim exists.
No, there is no such plan. Well, uh, uh, can you repeat what will not be allowed?
We once were able to
Mm,
allow players to create private claims on our guild claims.
yeah,
We
back
still
on
have
Avalon map. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we still have the permission on the permission page. There's still confusing players from time to time.
Yeah.
But
Okay, that needs to be fixed. You're right. I mean, there is no such plans. So private claims will stay on the green zones.
okay.
Green zones only.
Okay. The trade posts in the green zones. Now we have one admin village with two trade posts that
Hmm.
are enclosed by slums of areas of many players who are just camping them. That leads to yeah, low FPS when you arrive on Grönland. And the green zones are quite big from
Hmm.
my perspective, but there's
Hmm.
only one spot at the moment that you have to visit if you want to sell your stuff to the crown to get the coins for that. Do you plan on adding more of those admin villages, or at least small, I don't know, trade hubs to spread the population?
So you are talking about more trade posts, more spawn zones in the green zone.
Mainly more trade posts, so that you are
Hmm.
not, you're not really forced to stay at the admin village, but
Hmm.
there is no real reason, at least not in the beginning, to leave the area around
Hmm. Hmm.
the
Hmm.
one admin claim that we have right now.
Yeah, well, it's a good point. Maybe it's. I mean, I definitely have to look into that, but maybe it's a good idea to have trade posts at least in each server node in a green zone. I mean,
Yeah.
it should not be that hard, and it should improve everything, as you said, lag-wise, and to make less running for players. Yeah.
Yep. Will we still be able to set up very safe farms in the green zones and still be able to yeah, mainly still be able to, yeah, send those items to our guild claims outside the green zones? Or will you try to limit the ability to, yeah, export items from the green zone?
No, we don't have the plans yet to limit it somehow. I mean, no, it's going to stay, and I believe it will not be a problem at least as a first couple of weeks, because there will be not that much gold to pay for all those transfers, and not much guild claims outside to transfer to.
Mhm. But it will be a problem on the long term, so no change for that.
Yeah, no change, no change.
Uh, it's a quite small or less common question, but
Mm-hmm.
players, green zoners, were actually asking for a way to duel or to train the PvP in the green zones without having to use
Mm-hmm.
the arenas up as they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chance that you add some a duel mode or some small
Mm,
arenas like we have them on the newbie islands?
well, maybe probably on some later stage, but it's definitely not in the current update patch.
Okay, the travelers idols. Right now you can respawn in a another green zone. That is, I think, completely fine. You
Mm-hmm.
can also use them to travel to the guild you just joined. That is
Mm-hmm.
also, I think, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also use them every 48 hours to travel to another siege, for defense, or another guild to just port items. Yeah, by using the keep feature. Um, Are you planning to rework at least the prayer of camaraderie to the prayer to port to guild monuments so that you cannot use the idols that often to port to other guilds?
Um, so, uh, just to make sure, you're talking about the way that there is a possibility to teleport some resources by using the jump to the keep mechanics and everything,
Yeah,
and jump. Mm-hmm.
that is actually not the main problem. The main problem that quite a few or quite a lot of players now have is that you just get yourself kicked from the house on your guild claim. You leave the guild
Mm-hmm.
claim. You suicide to the green zone,
Mm-hmm.
and then you port to the next siege, um, either the attack fob or the defense claim. So that it takes about, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes to be at the claim you want to be, even if it's on the other side of the map. And after 2 days, you can do the same again, and that's
Okay.
just completely remove. I don't know the
The necessity to ride on the horse across all the map to participate in the PvP fun.
yeah, and everyone can be basically everywhere each 2 days,
Yeah.
and that's a
Yes,
bit
and
too much for many PvPs.
uh, I tend to disagree. I mean, we are fine if someone can get to the PvP fun without necessity to ride for a couple of hours for that fun.
Mhm.
I mean, as long as you are accepted by one of the parties, I think you have the right to participate, and you don't have to ride for hours. And I'd say I don't see a problem in that.
Okay, I think we need to talk about
Okay.
it. um, yeah, as we are talking about guilds, it's actually the next point on the list. Right now, you can, many of us have many characters, and you just create another guild with 10 members, place down a guild monument, and have an alt guild. That is fully, I don't know, be able to siege, farm wherever you want. Is there any plan to limit that a bit? That guilds need either more or less members, or you can only be part of one guild with one account or something like that. Because now you can just spam guilds all over the world if you want to.
Well, you can have multiple accounts and be within multiple guilds. I think we have discussed it many times that there is no real feasible way to to combat that, and it's not that much of the problem.
Okay, so guilds and the requirements to place guild monuments will not change at all.
Yes, no, they're not going to be changed. Yeah,
Okay.
and really, I mean, well, it's already 1 hour of
Yeah.
AMA. Maybe we should pick the most hot topic questions, or maybe even if you can moderate, maybe if there are some, I don't know, more um, more important questions that community
Okay.
want to ask, maybe it's time for to do that. Because as far as I know, you have a long spreadsheet of
Yeah.
questions. Yeah, let's
But
let's.
we had no AMA for a long time, and we
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
get
yeah,
that
yeah.
much information for a long time from you. Okay. Skill claims in general won't be changed that soon. At least the main claims.
Mm-hmm.
I think check. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that is not the provinces and the tax. I mean, right now, holding a province or not holding the own province is not really important. The dev news
Mm-hmm.
said you are going to rework that. What
Yes,
does
that's
that
right.
mean?
That means that we're going to rework it.
Okay, so it will actually have a real benefit to hold at least the own or more provinces in general.
Yes. We want to significantly increase the amount of taxation that province is going to get from all the fiefs that own this province. So we want to increase the importance of owning the provinces.
Okay, will we be able to change the taxes, or
You
will they
will
be
not be
fixed?
able to change. They still will be fixed, but there will be way significant. So, and that's one of the reasons why we include lesser judgment hour battles to make no, sorry, not judgment hours, instant battles,
Mhm.
IBs, to make war for provinces more available and more often and more rewarding. That's one of the main changes.
So, but we still have to fight the IBs for taking
Yeah,
over the
IBs
province.
for provinces. Yeah, IBs will still be the way how you can wrestle the province.
Okay, and that's the only yeah use for IBs, or it will be still the only use, or is there anything else that we can do with them, or any?
Oh, what IBs will be used for? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, only for provinces. Yeah,
Okay.
it's going to stay that way. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned the lesser battle totem, so you will bring back the 50 versus 50 IBs.
Yes. We're going to bring 50 versus 50 IBs. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Um, Short question probably. Will you change the way that war declarations work, like adding a cost or something like that?
No, there's no such plan, and I'd say that since we're going to have now all standings wiped, we'll see how the let's see how the situation on the new map with the current population goes out, and if we see the same massive war declarations as a problem again, well, we might look into that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um. Yep. Then jump to the next part, the fixes in general. Right now, especially NA players have problems with the download speed. Will the download speed for the terraforming update that we have to do almost every time that we start the launcher? Will you fix anything about the launcher itself? So reduce the problems that we have to log into the game?
As far as I know, it's constantly we're working and troubleshooting such download speeds. The last
Mm.
thing that I heard was on the client side. I mean, someone like really had slow connection. But I'm not saying that we don't have problems, and it's the fix of those problems is constantly going is a constant process that is not related to the wipe itself. But a good news is that the good news is that actually the fact that we will is going to wipe the map will mean that there will be way less changes for all those players to download. So at least at first it will be faster and smoother for everyone.
Okay. Um, the market is really yeah not
Oh
working that
yeah,
well. Are you
yes.
working on it right now?
Yes, we are working on it, and we're going to provide some website fixes for market and make more like how it's called mess. So well, to make things easier to navigate for the interface of the market.
Okay. There now we have quite a good amount of exploits that are especially used in PvP. Surprise.
Hmm.
Um, the premium decorations with a high damage resistance as payable defensive objects, the hitting through walls, buildings, outposts underwater. Are you going to address at least some of them with the patch?
Well, that's a good question. As far as I remember, we already fixed the underwater outposts and underwater building, but that's another one of the reasons why we need to wipe, because even if we fix them, we cannot like make them appear over the water. That's one of the reasons why we need a wipe to remove all those unlawfully built constructions.
Mhm.
And well, yeah, so some I don't remember exactly some other exploits I think we were working and looking into. Um, but let's see the patch notes in a couple of days to see what we will be able to fix in the coming days and whatnot.
Yeah. Um, Next big issue is the map. Are you going to fix or at least improve that with the patch?
Map? Or like,
Yeah, the in-game map.
oh, you're talking about yeah, you're talking about minimap. Yeah, okay.
Yes, please.
I thought about level, not the map. Okay, so yes. So we're also working on that, and we hope that we will be able to fix it, and maybe not right after the wipe, but shortly after. And so a good news that once we're going to make a wipe, the main reason why the map is lagging that bad is actually because there are a lot of thieves and a lot of provinces owned. There are a lot of player entities on the map. Once
Mhm.
we're going to make a wipe, it will automatically remove all those thieves and player-owned entities from the map, and it will not lag. And at the same time, we received important data why it lags so bad. So we're going to fix it in the meantime. Like before you will be able to build to claim a lot of thieves and provinces and everything. We will be able to fix the map so it will not lag that bad.
Okay, let's hope that it will work out.
Yes. Let's hope.
Um, we still have a problem with the third-party programs like I won't say the name, but the main major mod pack that are still being used. And yes, you started to detect them and to ban them, the users, for quite a long time. Yeah, um, for the bands that we know, will you finally be able to get rid of them in total, so that we don't have that many yeah, cheaters basically?
Okay, can you rephrase the question? Sorry. Yes.
Will you remove the mod packs and the third party programs that
You're
are
talking
running
about,
right now?
okay. I mean,
Yeah.
so of course we're constantly working on that, and we're constantly banning those players who are using them, and we're updating our detection
Hmm.
mechanisms, and well, yeah, that's it. That's like in any other competitive game. It's a constant cold war of like it was in a real world, where new weapons are created, new ways to deflect those weapons are created, so even better weapons are created. It's a constant process,
Okay.
and yes, we are devoted to keep this how it's called, war race, yeah, or weapon race. I forgot how it's called.
Okay. Um, there's also a problem with
Arms race. Yeah, thank you.
there's also be a problem with the memory usage, because especially if you're terraforming or someone is terraforming about around you, um, the memory that is gets filled up and the game crashes in the end.
Mm.
Will you be able to address that and to fix that
Truth to
anytime
be
soon?
told, truth to be told, at first time ever I hear that it's that we have a RAM leaking problem when terraforming with someone nearby. Well, we definitely have to look into that. It's I was unaware that it's a major issue until now.
Okay. Will we be
Okay.
fine?
Yeah. I'm just so sorry to interrupt you. I just reacting on all that spam that's happening. Will you change judgment hour or holy judgment hour mechanics and how? No, it's going to stay almost the same. So I see a lot of spam going on, and
Mm,
I really think that. I mean, if you have a list of hottest topics, so let's start with them.
okay. Then it's actually kind of related to PvP, um, and a frequent request. Will we be able to unbind ourselves from the houses we are bound to?
Ah, no, this well, it is always on our list, and it's always somewhere in the middle bottom of the list, and we never have time. I mean, it's a long time on our list, but we never had the time to implement it. So all I can say, it's still on our list, and hopefully someday we will do it, but not yet, not with this patch.
Okay. Also about mainly used in PvP, of course. We now are able to access the folder in the installation directory to see all the heraldies around us, to see the guilds that are
Yeah,
running
yeah,
around us.
yeah, yeah.
Plans to remove that?
Mm, it's really hard to remove it, but I'd say it's such an inconvenient and strange way to detect that somebody is coming to you. Well, we had a discussion about the ways how we can do something with that, and maybe sometime later we're going to encrypt this folder, so you will be able to see that its size has increased, but you will not be able to see at least who exactly is coming to you. But I'd say that the way to properly fix this detection mechanism is way time consumable if compared with how many players are actually using that.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Um,
And
and
yeah, just there are
Mhm.
some other questions. We briefly discussed about the teleportation to the PvP, and I want to repeat it again. That's our design. We want to make PvP more available by removing the necessity to ride for hours towards the war. So effectively we don't want like really local wars. We want to make it possible for everyone to participate in wars in almost any part of the map, as long as you are affiliated with one of the parties. So
okay.
yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that still if you are like small mid-sized guild and you are fighting with small mid-sized guild that is next to you, the chances are that none of you is going to call any elder brothers to help you with the fight.
Then let's just talk about the PvE part. That's not that big, and then I think we'll come to the PvP part, what is like always the most. I think the part with the most questions and the most
Mhm.
opinions. The PvE. Are you going to change anything about the speed of the progression or the XP gain?
No, it's going to stay the same. As I said, skill cap is going to. Well, we tweaked some abilities, how much experience they're going to provide, but
Mhm.
overall, it's going to stay the same. And I'm under the impression that I'm under the impression that it's not really hard to get your experience bar full on any stage of the game. So I don't see any reason to change that. And since we're going to increase skill cap, but we're going to keep the same skills for everyone, well, we're going to preserve the skills. I'd say the speed of the current speed of skill increase is also fine. So there are something for everyone to level up and time for to do that.
Okay. Um, Many of us finally reached the high quality crops, animals, trees. Trees actually a bit ago, but especially horses and the crops are right now finally in the yeah, in the high quality area. And now we have to start all over again. Will you at least speed up the quality gain for those parts of
Mm.
the game?
uh, no, actually, that's a good question. It was we didn't plan to increase that much, but I tend to agree that tweaking and increasing it slightly might be a good thing. But the problem is that there are a lot of parts of the code that needs to be addressed in order to do that for all parts of the game of progression or
Mhm.
quality progression in all abilities and all crafting abilities. I'd say we will look into that, so I will write it down.
Okay. Uh, you said you were going to at least fix the market somehow. Will you change anything major about it? Like the delivery option that we are able
Mm,
to build a whole base overnight by sending materials to
Well,
it?
the delivery option is going to stay. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's going to stay. When I was talking about the market, I was talking about interface changes, so it will be easier to mass sell everything and navigate through the market. And there are some like blueprints information or original properties of items that were not visible. I mean, all those types of bugs and bugs that we had with the market.
Okay. Are you going to add any kind of new content like ships, new animals, new buildings, new siege weapons or buildings, anything like that in the sooner future?
Well, talking about and the parrots, of course. Don't
Yeah,
forget
of
about the
course.
parrots and the camels. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
actually on the list, yeah.
Uh, yeah, well, again, it's somewhere on the bottom of the list. I cannot project right now when it's going to be created, when those things will be created.
Okay.
And well, yeah,
Um,
pineapples too.
then last thing before we start to take a look into the PvP part,
Hmm.
many of us are asking for a while now to get an auto splitter, like the your own mod packs had them.
Hmm.
Will we see them any soon?
Uh, well, it is not planned, and so I'd say that the terraforming splitting is a
See them any
well, it's not an exploit, but that's a feature, and we don't want to make it more available. Let's say that way. So no, auto splitter is not planned, but again, it might be one of the good things to make a poll about, and if we see that uh, really a lot of people are asking for it, I mean, why not?
Okay. Okay, PvP. Um, One of the major complaints is about the lag comp, as usual.
Hmm.
Will you
Hmm.
go take a look at it again in the near future? Will
Yeah,
you
we're
tweak it?
constantly looking. Yeah, we're constantly looking at it, and we're tweaking. I mean, we have tweaked it. I think about like 5 times already since when it was implemented. Um, and I'd say we're going to continue tweaking it. Uh, I don't think that disabling it is an option, because so far our feedback that it's helping more than like making things worse for some players. But yeah, lack compensation is a always hot topic, and yeah, we keep on looking into it. And as I see talking about auto splitter, there is a mass requests, probably the same mass as people were asking for no wipe. But once we start a poll, we see that actually more than twice people are were for wipe. So yeah, I'd say let's make a poll about auto splitter somewhere sometime later after the wipe.
Okay.
So sorry for jumping back.
All fine. Um. So next thing, mm, you were talking about reworking the coward because it's one of the other major problems that most PvPers see right now. Can you
So
actually tell us how you are gonna rework it, or do we have to wait for the patch
mm,
notes?
let's wait for the patch notes. I
Okay.
mean, it's still a discussion how. I mean, yeah, let's wait for the patch notes. Yeah.
Mm, are you going to change any other yeah abilities about the PvP the PvP abilities like the pounce or the what was it?
Pounce is not planned to be affected.
Hmm.
Uh, the coward is going to be affected, and some um, I think your mine also. So actually, again, the purpose of this AMA was not to go deep into all the details.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mind to answer that, but we have a Binard and the rest of the team who are more deep into the details. But let's wait for the patch notes, and if there will be a lot of questions after those, I don't know, we can answer them on maybe even another AMA.
Okay. Just another reason that more information yeah for starting this AMA would be really useful. Um, that is also okay. Uh, will you change anything about the armor and weapon balances? So like now we
Yeah,
see really a lot of plate
yeah,
when
yeah,
you
yeah.
are.
Those parameters will be tweaked, and we also, I'd say, we going to rework all armors parameter, how's it called, characteristics, properties.
Mhm. What about the weapons? Right now we also see just a few of each skill because all the others
Oh,
are basically useless.
well, I'd say that it's going. I mean, uh, the balance where all the weapons are equally used. I'd say it's almost unreachable.
Hmm.
I mean, even the most competitive, massive games like I'd say Dota, there still have the more popular and less popular heroes, no matter what. And the same thing with our weapons. Some weapons will be more popular, some less, and we constantly tweaking that. And this patch we're going to tweak them also, but that might mean that there will be a new popular weapon and some other weapon will be less popular. And what I'm trying to say that there will always be such a situation when certain weapons are not so popular than others, and I'd say it's mostly inevitable. It's a That's a perfect balance. Is really hard to reachable, especially in our game when it's not like competitive 5 on 5 on a static map and blah blah blah, where we can get a lot of big data and do
Hmm.
something with that. In our case, it's a lot of different circumstances in all types of battles, in all PvP engagements.
Okay. Um, one step back to the armors again. Right now, tier 4 and tier 3 armors as well are very heavy and yeah, not really used at all in the open field battles. Maybe a bit in the IBs in the future because now there are basically no IBs. Are you going to change them as well in any way?
Well, as I said, all
Mm,
armors are going to be changed.
not more
And
than all the others.
well, I'm not sure. Well, I hope that it will bring more T3, T4s into battles, but definitely it will not be the case in after the wipe, where there will be simply no such armors.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, just is it AMA serious? Yes, it is serious. Sometimes I see, I'm taking a look on the spam that's happening in AMA general.
Mhm.
hmm Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and I see, and I see some. Well, there are always some special players.
Okay. Let's
Mhm.
just continue with the questions I gathered from all the other chats. Right now,
Uh,
also the war horses are a problem. You can stop normal war horses by just standing in the way. You can always block all the already stopped war horses just by standing in front of them to um, prevent them from speeding up. Are
mhm.
you going to fix that or change that at least a bit?
So that's we also want to address. We are also working with those horses and how they are working. But yeah, the horses is a really hard part because it involves physics and physics simulation, and that's truly not that easy to reach the adequate behavior of the horses. So yeah, we're working on it. We're going to tweak it a little, but there probably some issues are going to be serious.
Okay. Um, with the start of Gotland, you removed the um, yeah, the cooldown for sprinting in combat stance. So we now, as it is called, can use the perma sprint as long as we have stamina.
Mhm.
Will we ever go back to the previous version?
Well, it was not planned. Yeah, well, I mean, the stamina should be a limitation. That's what we have. I mean, and um, feedback that we had back then was that the sprint was it was not clear how long the sprint is going to last, and it was not players didn't feel those short term sprints. So that's why we decided to tie it with the stamina.
Okay. Um, then another jump to the arenas. Right now we have the free for all arena, at least in theory. Are you going to change or implement more arena modes in the future? Like, I don't know, team arenas that are basically just tiny IB?
Mm, well, there were a lot of requests about arenas, making team arenas, and so on and so forth. It's also on the list, but it's not going to happen, with this patch, with this wipe. But yeah, it's still on the list. That's right.
Okay. Um, it's a mix between PvE and PvP, but mainly PvP. Right now, it's still more viable or more, better to just suicide with a God's Mercy buff or premium, of course, on during a judgment hour and be ready after 5 minutes of debuff. Are you going to take another look at healing so that it could actually be
Yes. Yeah.
important again?
Well, yeah, well, we're looking into healing, and yeah, you're right. Well, the problem that we have is that we don't want players to spend a lot of time doing nothing to be combat ready. But also healing is also an important part. I mean, we want to be players to be combat ready after they respawn. Well, not as soon as possible, but rather sooner than later. But healing is something that is also important. We believe it has to work properly and be better than just suiciding and respawning.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're looking into that, and I'm not sure if we're going to do that in time for the patch, but it's something that is more important on our list.
Okay. Um, I think, or I hope at least that you already have the refresh horse, the ability at the stables on your list, because right now you just ride to a stable, cast for I think 2 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
and you basically have a new horse, full HP, full stamina, and you can't do that on the stables of other guilds. Are you going to change that in any way so that it's not like a full reset in 2 seconds?
Oh, truth to be told, I don't think we have discussed it within the team. Probably, I'll be straightforward. Probably we have lost it between all the changes that has to be done. Oh, we will take a look into that. Probably we are not going to change it in this patch. I don't think we simply have time for that. But maybe in the next patches, it's worth to take a look into that.
Mhm. Okay. Will the alignment system change anytime soon so that it's actually yeah, important again?
Well, I'd say there are some people who are not happy with their negative alignment, so I wouldn't say it's not working at all. Well, anyway, we don't, we are not going to change it. At least we do not see much reason to change it right now.
Okay. Next step, the mainly this and the judgment hour. You already said that this basic system of the normal versus the holy judgment hour will stay. So we still need the outposts and we still need
Yes.
all
Of
the
course, this
work.
part is good. Yeah.
Okay. Um, right now it's, I think, yeah, quite common to just enclose your guild claim with small tier one claims with two outposts that
Mm-hmm.
have basically no judgment hours. I mean, I have to admit that we are doing the same at right now. We have a claim, we have 5 claims around it that are vulnerable only during the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Will you do anything about that to prevent it?
Well, again, truth to be told, I only recently heard about this way of protecting your main claims. Well, let's see how if it's going to be the case on the new map. Um, I'd say that if it is a case, we can always increase the amount of judgment hours for smaller guilds.
Mhm.
Well, my point is that such claim is harder to take, but still it's not invulnerable. It's way harder, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think not really intended in the first place.
Well,
That you
yes. But as I said, there's always we have to always to find balance between protecting new players
Mhm.
and trying to figure out how to deal with larger guilds that are using this new player protection like a shield, like a life shield.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always create a lot of fake guilds around you, like and claim 50 thieves around you, and so nobody will be able to approach to you. And there is no way we can say that it's actually you are playing, helping a lot of newbie guilds that are just settling around you, or it's just a fake guilds.
Okay.
I mean, well, of course, we can say it after investigation, but we cannot say it in a runtime. In a game, cannot say it.
Um, then maybe something that is related to that. Will you change the system how guild ranks work? So like right now we have yeah siege claims that are full of palisades and they still have no judgment hours. So maybe just
Well,
raise
they
the
have a
value of
judgment
palisades.
hour. They have at least one judgment hour. That's right. So we're going to change the and we're going to change the guild rating distribution, making judgment hours more often. So let's say right now about 50% of guilds have only one judgment hour. Like if you are in the middle of the global list of the top of the guilds, you probably have only one judgment hour. So that's the thing we're going to change. We will make it that way that the more guilds will have more judgment hours overall by tweaking this distribution of by tweaking ranking. It's called ranking.
Mhm. Okay.
So yeah, overall, it should be more judgment hours for more guilds.
And the judgment hours themselves, are they changed in any way so that they are more
No,
friendly for?
because yes, sorry to interrupt you, because the main mechanics of Holy Judgment Hour are the same. I mean,
Mhm.
it's still the same time zones, it's still the same periods, it's all almost all the same. It's just the ranking that is tweaked, and ranking means that more judgment hours will be enabled for more guilds.
But during a normal judgment hour, you can't still really normally raid an enemy or an enemy guild. You still have to decide to either take a look during the normal judgment hour or to go for a full siege, including all that is coming behind that. So that, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's all will be the same.
okay. Okay, then. Mhm. That we already had, I think. Um, I think we covered at least somehow most of the questions in this part. Um, I know there are still many questions open
Hmm.
because I also see the chat on the second screen. Um,
Hmm.
but I think now we just would be guessing because you know more than we do, of course, and we could spend 2, 3, 4 hours about more about guessing the changes
Hmm.
about
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
judgment hours
Hmm.
and so on.
Yeah.
Um, Another good, quite big problem is now that you can just during a siege start a holy judgment hour, do whatever you want, or you fail at it, and then you just declare war on a friendly guild, and they self cap your outpost to end that judgment hour. Will that still be a thing, or will you find a way to not prevent, but to make it harder and less mm, rewarding?
Well, uh, that's again a problem where we cannot say if this I mean self-banning. If anybody played Shadowbane, self-banning was always an issue because again you cannot say if this action was really if this action was exploited or if it was an action or if it was a legitimate action. I mean that somebody really took in your outpost and they really need that period of immunity to build this outpost back. So I'd say I don't think we can do something from the code set point, it might be a good thing for our team to discuss about some kind of uh, game master interference in such cases when it's obvious a blatant way to defend your outpost by self-capturing it with a tweak guild.
Mhm.
So what I'm trying to say that we definitely have to combat that, but we cannot do that in a runtime. So we have to do it with the rules, and that's probably one of the things that we'll have to update our rules page with the things that we were talking an hour ago.
Yeah. Um, okay, then we're kind of back to the ranking again. Right now, as I think I already mentioned, you just place down a monument, 2 trade posts, or 1 trade post and another outpost to be able to upgrade the monument to tier 3, and you
Hmm.
have a
Hmm.
fully operatable fob with
Hmm.
almost no ranking. I mean, you already said that that will change, but
Hmm.
will there be any limitations of what rank your guild can actually attack? Like we had earlier on the old worlds with the IBs, where we
No,
couldn't.
well, so again, again, I think we're repeating and repeating.
Mm,
The Judgment Hour and Holy Judgment Hour mechanics will not change much, and so the same is going to stay. But as I said, if you created an FOB and that is tier 3 monument with something on it, it will definitely have more judgment hours because its rank will be higher. Well, ranking will be higher.
Yeah. Okay, so that is gonna be fixed on the side.
Hmm.
Okay, IBs think and
Ili,
mm,
so sorry to interrupt you. Maybe we can start some kind of interaction. Maybe there are like all those people who are spamming. Maybe you have some questions that were not answered yet. So let's go with some online mode.
okay.
I don't mind answering the question, but I see that there are a lot of players are like what are answering, what kind of questions. So if you have a good questions, shoot them out in AMA general.
Oh yeah, I think the almost first one and one of the last ones on my list, something completely different. Will your own get a bit love again? Because the last patch at all was a long time ago, and there are still users, players playing that game,
Hmm.
and would appreciate a patch about it.
Um, so can you rephrase again? So
Okay.
patch about what?
Will you take a look at your own again and patch it so
Ah,
that they
your
get
own, your own. Sorry,
yeah
I didn't miss
and
it. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good question. I'll be straightforward. Your own is additional load that I'm not sure we will be able to handle in the nearest future, but
Mhm.
we definitely do not want to abandon it, and hopefully sometime later this year we'll be able to patch something into it.
Cool.
And yeah, about I just see the mentions. So what's the reason for the wipe? I explained it before, so please take a look at the recordings. When the Chinese server is coming? That's a good question. So first of all, we are not doing. We have a partners in China who are doing everything to start the life as feudal. I don't think I can comment anything on that point, but I do know that they're working hard and to be able to launch the worlds as soon as possible. I cannot provide any ETAs, but I hope it will be in the coming months. Let's say that months, like maybe 2 3 months, something like that. But again, we have a partner, and if you are from China region, you probably know about that partner and you know where to look for information. So that's where you should take a look at. We want new usable items, new crafting skill lines, and dogs, geese to warn them for NPC on claims. So, well, we have a, I don't know, maybe 50 pages long list of things that can be implemented within our game. Well, but right now we are mostly working on what we have explained in the upcoming patch. Sell all option and trading posts. As far as I remember, if it's not, I mean, it should be coming. That's what we're working at. It's not that trivial, but we are working on that. And yeah, I know that's a hot topic that a lot of players are asking for. For is a ability to sell everything in trade post with a couple of clicks. Delivery of trading post will not be cancelled. I told it already. And I'd say when we have a large world and less players, all those teleportations and deliveries is a way to make game easier for most of the players. Um,
I think we already covered it earlier. Maybe they missed it. Farming and animal husbandry. Will it change or will it stay like?
and it will stay. And probably we will consider increasing the speed of gaining quality during the breeding processes, but overall it's going to stay the same.
Mhm.
When will leave MMO leave early access? Soon. Did you expect any other answer? Um, 10, 10, 10. I
Um,
think I answered already about delivery of trade posts. Shared judgment hour. The more guild you set a friendly standing, the more your rating increases. Again, friendly standing doesn't mean, I mean, there can be guilds that are friendly to each other, but there are no standing between them, and that means that every mechanics based on the standings will not work because players will simply not set the standing just to avoid the mechanics related to the standing. Um,
we have one from or few from Muna stream.
okay.
Additional permissions or changes to permissions in general that we can manage our guild a bit better. Are you going to change anything about the guild management? Like,
Yeah, I understand. I understand the question.
mm,
No, the short answer, no. Well, I mean, we know that there can be a lot of rows, a lot of details from what object who can take something. I do agree that additional rules and access levels would be good and objects that you can access to, but no, we are not working on that. And another question that I see in the moderation questions is uh, I shouldn't have to wait out a guild member's personal ownership timer on a horse card to be able to grab something from its inventory.
mm,
Yeah, I understand that it can be frustrating, but on the other hand, this mechanism works always the same. That as long as horse or trade card or anything is dropped, the the owner of this object is going to stay owner for a certain period of time. And I mean, this mechanism we don't want really to change or tweak. And I do understand it's a bit inconvenient with horse cards, but you always have an owner of the horse card standing next to it and just ask him to drop the items that you need. I understand it's still inconvenient, but that's how it's going to work. And while I was answering this question, I see 12 more, 14 more mentions in the AMA general.
mm.
Uh, I'll just randomly stick my finger. Can you recommend a new game similar to Life is Feudal? I can't play this anymore, please and thanks. Well, I wish I could. I mean, honestly, I have played a bit of Last Oasis. I have played New World. I have played. I don't know what else. Forgot. And I'd say they're all still different. So of course they're newer. Of course they're more active. They're more I don't know, action packed. But still, I truly believe that Life is Fiddle is something special. So again, we don't hold any grudges that somebody sees other game better, and it's fine. But Life is Fiddle is Life is Fiddle. Um, what else? Soon Bobik Sunclad. So
I am also
mhm,
one of
mhm.
my lists. I think I know the answer already. But will you come back to actually creating a roadmap about the changes you're planning to do so that we can keep track on what we could expect?
Mm, I'd say rather not. Well, I mean, you probably saw it yourself that there were a lot of spam where people were digging up 2, 3 years old messages or words on our site saying, "Oh, there were no wipe planned," and blah blah. Now you're making them a wipe, and that's true. I mean, a couple of years ago we didn't plan a wipe, but things are changing constantly, and plans are changing. That's why to avoid all those people saying that you are not keeping up to your plans, we'd rather not share any plans and just keep them with ourselves, at least for now at the current stage.
Okay.
I do agree that it's good to have some kind of roadmap, but it's easier when I'd say the game is stable and the roadmap just explains what things are going to be implemented, new things are going to be implemented. But right now we're tweaking with what we have now and fixing bugs mostly. So that's our main direction. Will we have siege towers or battering ram or ships soon? Well, truth to be told, it's on the lower part of the list. And I'd say definitely no for siege towers because with all the terraforming and everything, it's will be almost impossible to implement them. So same thing about battering rams, but the ships are still more of the possibility. On the top of the list is fixes, and tweaks, and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, I see
Um,
PM. So yeah, go ahead.
I just have another one about building resistances because right now
Hmm.
the argumentation is that you work quite a good amount of time for your walls and your keeps, and they are being destroyed within a few minutes. So will you take a look at them as well?
Well, yes, we do, and so Palisade walls probably also a bit more provide a bit more protection than versus effort it takes for them to be built. So yeah, well, these things are also tweaked, going to be tweaked.
The natives. I
Hmm.
see a few questions about the native villages. Will you change them, or will they stay the
No,
same?
no,
They
no.
are not.
They will stay the same. Native villages and natives are parts of the map, and
Mm,
it's really hard to move them somewhere or shuffle them. And I mean, it's still not hard to discover them, so they're going to stay where they are.
okay. One question about having more polls in general.
More,
I
more
think
what in general?
more polls, more modes about
Mhm.
things that we would, yeah, not really
I
discuss,
think
but
yeah, well
changes that
already
we would like to
discussed.
see.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
think you said that we are going to hopefully have some of them in the future.
Well, just I see a question. No, I didn't say that palisades are getting stronger. I actually saying that palisades will have to become weaker, in my opinion, because it's easier to build them, but they provide a lot of protection, and I mean, they should protect, but not that much as they are used now with like 10 layers of palisade walls around the outposts. And I also got private message questions about the poll. Well, if you crashed with the poll, I think it should appear again. But anyway, we're tracking all the accounts and their votes. And I mean, at any time, we can remove the newly created accounts from the poll results. And we can look up at certain accounts. What I'm trying to say with the current mechanism for polling that we have a lot of possibilities to make sure that there is no tampering with the poll and poll results. But truth to be told, I tend to so far when I reviewed the results for the wipe poll, I'd say it looks quite legitimate to me.
Um, I keep getting messaged about the question, what did happen to your old stuff? Like, um,
Go ahead, no worries.
who was that? I think Saxon was is gone like for a year ago, a year
Oh
now.
yeah, yeah,
Then
yeah.
Bobby's Free Ladies, as they were called.
Hmm.
Um, so the
Yeah.
question just what happened?
Well, there is no reason to deny it. So, well, economy happened. So, unfortunately, everyone should understand that we still have a niche game, and the niche game have a certain level of popularity, and I'd be straightforward. We simply had to cut our costs. That's simple as that. It was a hard moment for me personally because well, because it was not always a good thing that when you have to cut your costs, because it always relates to certain people that will have no longer to work with you. But yeah, we had to do that. It's not like some kind of scandal. It's not like they did their job poorly. They did their job well. But yeah, we simply had to do that.
Um, one question that is actually also on the list. Can we expect more frequent patches again? Or do we have to wait a long time like we had to wait now?
Uh, it's really hard to say, as I said. As I said about the cost thing, well, you probably, well, not probably, you notice that our patches are less frequent, and there is a reason for that. And I cannot promise in the nearest future that it will change significantly. We're still here, we're still supporting the game, we're still tweaking and fixing it, and maybe small content updates. But I couldn't say that. You can expect like huge updates. At least not, I don't know, in a couple of months. But again, situation can always change. And I'll be straightforward. The launch of game in China, if it goes successful, it might also affect us and well, get us back on the tracks. As simple as that.
Okay. I think you already said that there will be no new recipes for now. And
Oh, well, yeah, it's not planned, but more I see a question about new outposts, and actually granite and stonecutter outpost might not be that bad things to do. We'll definitely consider it.
um, there's a question about, or you to be exact, a question about um, kind of a cast bar or a timer for opening gates to prevent them from being used
Mm-hmm,
to trap
mm-hmm.
or stop the capturing as it is now.
Uh, it's a controversial question. I mean, we'll definitely have to discuss it within our team because, well, some timeout is fine, but on the other hand, it might be inconvenient in other situations. So we'll definitely have to take a look at it and so think with our team. But no such changes are planned so far.
Mm. Are you planning about changing the minor skills in any way?
What guilds?
The minor skills like piety, authority, horseback riding.
Minor skills. Sorry, I
Yeah.
heard guilds. Yeah, skills. No, well, minor skills are called minor, and they're minor for us. No, they're going to stay as they are. And I also in private messages I see that you have question 206 on your list. What
Yeah,
kind of question is it?
that
Huh?
was the one about your old stuff.
Okay, okay. Mm-hmm. Dun, dun, dun. Um, I have one question in a in private messages, have you thought about advertising more to the chronicles of a lyric community? Now that it is dead, it might be a good opportunity to gain new players who shell out money. Well, I'm under impression that most of them, if not all of them, are pretty much aware about Life is Feudal. Some of them are not happy because, well, under my impression, Chronicles of Illyria were more about PV centric, where players were dreaming about how they will create a huge kingdoms. But in Life is Feudal, they tried to create a huge kingdoms and it was not successful, so they left. Again, it's my personal opinion. So the answer is I don't see much reason to do that.
But maybe let's rephrase it to be more in general.
Hmm.
Do we have any plans to attract more and new players in general and to keep them actually?
Well, well, that's one of the reasons why we make a wipe. It's part of the how it's called um, discovery extension. How we want more players to see. We're going to launch discount promotional campaign on the Steam. That's what we plan. So the wipe is one of the reasons why I think a lot of new players and existing older players will be glad to return or join the game for a fresh start. So that's one of the main reasons why we wanted to make a wipe is to make it more fair and more easier and more fresh, newer experience for new players. So yeah, that's what we plan. But again, I'll be straightforward and honest as always. We have spent a lot of efforts on promoting our game, like paid promotion, like marketing, advertisement, and everything. And that's a problem. It is always a problem with niche products that you have a you have a niche product, you have a niche audience, and it's really hard to find players from that niche. It is really expensive because when you have a casual game, you can launch a massive campaign, and you know that pretty much everyone who will see your advertisement will be interested because they are casual, they are huge audience. But when you have a niche hardcore game, it's really hard to reach those players, to find those players. And so, at least with the current tools that are available, like Facebook or Facebook advertisement, and Google AdWords, and so on and so forth. So, but we're still here. We're still doing that. We are still trying. That's what I'm trying to say. But again, I'll be straightforward too. It's not that easy how it works in most other games.
Okay, and just kind of a follow-up question to that.
Hmm.
What would happen or what will happen if the population will basically remain the same for the next years?
Well,
What can we
mm,
expect then?
well, if it's going to be the same, I'd say the same is going to stay. I mean, we support, we have, we can support our game and we can make tweaks and slight changes. So, well, what I'm trying to say, we're going to continue as we are right now.
Mhm.
So if population will be lower, there will be less from us. If there will be influx and increase in population, well, we're going to increase. We will be able to increase amount of things that we're going to change, update, or introduce into the game. That's pretty much simple. So yeah, more people, more content, more people. But what I'm trying to say that more content is not necessarily more people because it's more fun for players who are playing the game. But it doesn't bring more players into the game, and especially when everything goes to the type of the content that is very detailed. I mean, all those judgment hour details and mechanics. They're not seen by anyone who's seeing the Facebook advertisement. You know, they don't really care about it because it's all details for them. And uh, it's for all the players who think that like adding new content instantly automatically creates thousands of new players just because. No, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. No, there is no possibility to make rivers or lakes in the middle of the map, and there will be no such possibility.
Oh, that
Uh,
reminds me of a
mhm.
question. Are there plans to, I don't know, redo the game with another engine?
Oh, no, actually, I'll be straightforward. It's virtually impossible. I mean, seriously, I have seen that question a lot in prior direct messages and outside. Uh, I don't want to be rude, but people who are asking it doesn't have any idea of how it actually works. So if we go for Unreal Engine, we'll have to recreate, I'd say, 90% of the game from scratch. Um, our engine and our game, it's really hard to take them apart because, well, terraforming is a game mechanics, but synchronizing all the terraformational changes across all the global world for across all the players, it's a different system, it's a different mechanics, and none of the existing engines have anything close to that. And that will mean that if we want to make a global tens of thousands players world, so performable world, that means we'll have to recreate I'd say like 80% of our code in a new engine, like to rewrite it from scratch. So that's why it's not a possibility. But we have a new version of our engine that we are working on for last 3 years, I believe. It's still far from being ready, but still there are a lot of things. I mean, you can imagine 3 years of work of a good amount of people working on it. So we really hope it will make a significant change, and that new engine, well, hopefully it will be even better for our game and for us than any other existing engines here existing on the market right now.
Mm.
When can we get this new engine? Soon. Guys, as I said, it's not being close to be ready, and I don't think it will have anything be ready in this year. At least not for like a release or transition, but it's just something that we are working on for quite some time. No, I'm not single. I'm married.
A question that
Also,
came to
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll just see a question that's been repeated multiple times. Have you considering giving out full modding tools for Life is Still Your Own? It could bring a lot of players to your own and in turn to the MMO. So first of all, your own and MMO audience are quite different, and that's we have realized it in a hard way because well we had a your own we have about 500,000 copies of your own sold, and I thought okay, all of those people will be glad to play on the huge MMO map with global terraforming and blah 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 nada. But no, there are not even close to that amount of players in MMO. I'd say like at least 10 times less, well not 10 times but at least 5 or 2 times less. And the truth is that Life is Feudal, your own experience is different with compared with MMO. And there are a lot of players who are still playing your own and they don't want to come to MMO. So first point that your own players usually are different with the MMO players. And I do know that there are a lot of players who are playing both versions, but it's proven by our launch that it's still different players. It's first part, and second part, there's quite some modding possibilities with your own already. But the thing is that releasing a full modding support takes actually a lot of efforts. It's not that easy as it sounds. It's not like some kind of button that we press and bam, everyone is able to modify everything. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. So of course we'd be glad to have more modding possibilities for your own, but it's not, we are not able to do that right now. Yeah, so sorry for interrupting you. Your time now. What did you want to ask?
Yeah. The
Uh-huh.
just I see it again. There are questions about increasing the amount of coins that we can feed to monuments and outposts without overfeeding them, so that we have more time before we have to go and to feed them again.
That's actually a good question, and I actually don't see reason why not to increase it. I I, sl- I slightly remember there were maybe some problem with just integer size problem. I'm not completely sure. I don't recall it out of my head. But yeah, we're going to consider to increase the maximum amount of support points that can be win outposts and guild monuments. Um, I'd say that my private message pool is almost impossible to navigate, so I'll make some random clicks and see if those questions are good. I will answer them, and I suggest to start wrapping it up if nobody minds.
I think most of the questions are repetitions, and of
Mm-hmm.
course we are not uh, really satisfied with the amount of questions that you could answer, but I guess that's a normal case.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So sorry, I see your question that were repeated a couple of times. Can we have tier 3 armors crafting be more available more easily? And T4 is a joke at the moment. Well, actually, it's a good point, and I agree that, as I said, we're going to tweak armors, but we wanted to tweak them from their damage observation standpoint. But I actually agree that making the recipes easier for craft, I mean, making them more available is a good option too. So yeah, we'll take a look into that.
okay. Maybe one question to round it up a bit. We once had a time, it has been a while quite now, where the GDAMA channel on the main Discord was actually used, and where I think it was mainly, if not only, Beinert who answered, basically our questions from time to time, or on a regular basis. Do you see any chance to come back to that so that we can kind of get our updates from one of the team members?
So you're talking about, I'm just sorry, I was a bit distracted by the private messages. So you're talking about MA with Binart or, or
Yeah,
what?
the channel on the official Discord, the
You're
GDAMA.
talking yeah, JDAMA. Well, yeah, sometimes I take a look at that, and well, probably a lot of you have seen that. I'm rarely as answering on private messages. The thing is that yeah, we have a more load right now, and we simply like really lack of time to answer all the questions, and that's one of the reasons why we have this AMA, is just to compensate that lack of communication with the one session, because we have a lot of things that we are doing on a daily basis, and we have way bigger load right now, and yeah, unfortunately we cannot answer all the questions instantly. Well, but I agree that some kind of interaction in GDAMA would be nice, and yeah, we will take a look at it from time to time.
Okay.
There is one question in private: can you add something in the game that if you bought premium, that you can add 2 arrows to a skill and that the will increase twice as fast? I'd say it will be a bit overpowered, so I'd rather avoid to provide such a functionality to premium accounts. Another player is asking, wondering if all these things in this AMA were actually written down somewhere, so people who were not here could read them. Well, as far as I know, Ili, you have most of the questions written somewhere, but answers nobody were answering answers. Nobody probably were writing down answers. So what I can suggest is just once this AMA is over, I hope recordings of AMA will pop up and you will be able to review these recordings. And there is another, well, okay, short. Somebody suggesting that they could place NPC archers anywhere on walls or inside their base. It's an interesting feature, but again, it will take some efforts to implement it, and it's definitely not in this patch. But yeah, maybe it's a good idea to implement it sometime later. Oh, so while I was browsing direct messages, I see 28 mentions in
Mhm.
AMA General.
I
Don't
think
think on sell. Okay, that's a good question. Don't
Mhm.
think on sell game to one serious company. Um, well, I don't think any serious company will try it approach to such a niche game. Just for your info, guys. It is not a rose garden that like all huge Ubisofts and Activisions are just roaming around and seeing what kind of small niche hardcore games to buy for all their casual or mid-core audience to do what. So I'm just for all those talks about buying a company, buying a project, selling a company, selling a project. So the truth is that there is no one who will be interested to do that. So just simply forget about it. And yeah, of course, I don't want anyone else to be involved with Life is Fiddle because it will definitely, well, make things worse. And that's why we are happy that we have partners in Chinese region, because in that case they will expose our game to the wider audience in that region without interfering or with our company or with our game design or with anything. So as a businessman, I really see that an opportunity to secure additional funds for our game without losing anything from in terms of creative freedom and the freedom of the game. Um, yeah, I heard about Amazon's game New World, and truth to be told, I kind of like their combat and overall, but uh, I really think they have a huge troubles with creative game design, where they enable PvPs and disable PvPs and enable PvPs and enable flag PvPs and enable um, outpost PvP. It's. I don't think those guys really understand where they're coming to. But they really got an impressive game and combat mechanics and everything. No, we are not going to have horse archers. It was a decision that I'm true to until since the early stages of the development of the game. Did you notice how many players actually love this game and wanted to grow? Probably yes, but there are a lot of players who who want otherwise. Ah, okay. So, Il, do you have any
Yeah.
good questions that we better to answer?
More than we'd have time for them. Maybe one from the PvP aspect again.
Yeah.
Just have to find it.
Go on.
Where's the
What about 50-man IB? We said that lesser totems are back and it will be available.
In the meantime, premium. Do you plan to change it in any ways to make it more attractive to players? Like other games, I know it's an old question, but other games add some of the cash shop currency to the sub, or like I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing to tweak the premium, but on the other hand, we don't really want for premiums to be, more powerful than the normal players. So it's always a hard thing to decide what to do with the premium, how to make it better without making it disadvantageous to other players. So we're always open to suggestions if you see something that it's not really hard to implement and it's good for premium players, but doesn't put a lot of disadvantage on normal players. Just shoot them towards me or my team, or well, Ilya actually also go. Well, actually, thank you, Ilya, for being a good contact point and helping us with everything, with communication with the community. So if you don't mind, it might be also a good point to gather all those suggestions.
Um,
Okay, it's fine if you don't. Of
I
course.
will think about it. Maybe just in form of I don't know, a Discord channel where I can actually pick them
Mhm.
and see if we can
Yeah,
polish them a
well,
bit.
yeah. Again, you already done a lot for us, so yeah. Let's continue with questions.
There was a question about invulnerable constructions like gatehouses or walls right next to an outpost that is standing right behind the
Hmm.
claim border. So where
Hmm.
you can the best example is actually the gatehouse that is on the main claim that is
Hmm.
invulnerable and it leads to the outpost. Will there be any changes? Like I saw a suggestion like forcing the outpost in more into the center of one fief so that you can't build it right at the border.
Mm, that's a good point. Well, first of all, some of the changes that going to be released is that we increasing the amount of blocked tiles around the outpost buildings. So that means that you will have to put it a little bit further away from the border, and you will not be able to put any, like palisade walls or any wall structures just next to the entrance of the outpost. So you will block it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'd say we address this feature. Maybe it will not still be quite enough to distance them far from the castle gatehouse, but at least it will somehow help. And yeah, maybe it's a good point to take a look and maybe provide even more block tiles around the outpost. So yeah, it's a good point here. We'll definitely take a look at that.
Okay, I think we're almost at 2.5 hours. I mean,
Uh, yeah, sorry to interrupt you. There was one question. Players asking if we will be able to make sure that that it will be season for apples to tame horses right after the wipe. No, our time, our in-game time is calculated is well, yeah, it's calculated. It's converted from the real life time. So altering the starting season is quite well. It's possible, but it's consuming and would rather not touch it. So yeah, maybe some of the time you'll have to run, and the way how it was on a Gameland when there were simply no skill to train horses to tame horses, except those who have the skill leveled up on a new island.
same questions over and over. Horse tabard, shield skins.
Shield skins. Well, as you see, there are not many skins released recently, and yeah, skins are also quite time-consuming action to do. And yeah, even though everyone's saying less content, more skins, but you probably haven't seen new skins recently also. So I don't think we can really blame it for that. And about green zones, guys, we probably can make a poll about it, but you remember feudal democracy? I want to keep green zones because there were a lot of players playing in the green zones and living in the green zones, and it's fine. And it's probably most of those players who are not so hardcore as you, but it's at least some kind of population that keep on playing the game. And as I said, in order to prevent all those harassments and all those problems with bases that are built partly on a green zone and partly outside of the green zone. That's why we're implementing that buffer zone that will prevent building anything on it. And I'd say this problem will be mitigated. So green zones are going to stay.
Okay. I mean, if you have more time, then there are more questions in the chat. But
Yeah. Well, what's a couple more and yeah.
the recent ping, guild versus guild versus guild and 5 versus 5 arenas. I think we already said that they are also on the list, at least the team arenas.
Well, it is on the list, but not in this patch. Yeah.
Hmm.
Go to work, Bobik. Come on, it's Sunday. And
What
yeah, so it's
about
also part of my work. Yeah.
what about another AMA after you've released the patch at the wipe, so that we can talk
Well,
about the next
yeah,
ones then?
yeah, well, yeah, not shortly after the patch, not shortly after the wipe, but yeah, sometime later or not. Let's see how it's going on first, and then run an AMA. And there's another good question: war moose and war armored moose. I don't really think we want to see lancers on the armored mooses. Come on, it's not our type of the game, but sounds fun, yeah. Yeah, moose cavalry.
Maybe repeat a question about again bigger food containers for stables. I think we can.
Oh yeah. There's a part of like the same way how we're going to have more support points on monuments. Yes. So again, it's a good suggestion, and yeah, why not? Well, we'll definitely have to discuss it within the game design team, but so far I don't see reasons why not. Okay, let's have two more questions and
Okay.
yeah. So what about back to special attacks? Yeah, we're looking into them and working into them, but the thing is that mostly they are not used, and that's we don't have much of the answer how with the current free strafing, free mechanics we can do something with that. I mean, like for instance, in For Honor, everyone is locking on each other and they just fencing, while in our game, it's really hard to hit with many special attacks, and it's really hard to make a situation for those special attacks to be active and moving in 8 pattern and just swinging from left to right. So it's like a viable option right now. And I've played Mountain Blade Bannerlord myself, and they just left the same code, absolutely the same combat, and well, it kind of works with them. So special attacks is a hot topic for us, but we don't have any solutions. So thus, we don't have any much changes for them. And alignment, no, will not be reworked. We're going to keep it the same.
Okay. Yeah, I see another one for you.
Hmm?
Do you see another question or?
Well, yeah,
Mhm.
you can ask a question.
No, do you see another one for that you want to answer now?
I'm just I'm just looking for private messages, and
Okay.
it's mostly comments or wild ideas. Yeah, the durability in arena. Well, yes, somebody I saw this question a couple of times. To
Mhm.
disable the durability loss in the arena. Um, we'll think about it because, truth to be told, we don't want to completely remove the durability loss on the arena because it will make that everyone will go run in T3, T4 armors as soon as they get them, and which which might be unfair for new players that don't have access to such arenas, and durability loss prevents from using such valuable armors in the arenas. But we'll definitely take a look into that.
Okay. I think we can say that we're, I don't know, not really done, but you said two
Hmm.
more questions. We're now exactly about at 2.5 hours. Um,
Hmm.
I really hope that there will be more information coming from your side, so that we don't have to wait for information for a couple months. And I'm not talking about the small dev notes, and that basically tell not that much. Um,
Hmm.
I think I'm speaking for most of the players that it would be good if I say that it would be good to hear a bit more from your side, and also maybe the AMAs on a more
On a
regular base,
regular basis. Hmm.
and maybe not that spontaneous as it was now, so that we can come back to collect guild and alliance leaders, which also
Hmm.
have a huge amount of feedback and questions they can bring from our or from their side, because right now it was still, I mean, I thought I try to be as objective as I can, but
Hmm.
I am just one person in the end. If we have more with a bit more time of preparation,
Well, yeah,
that
you're
would be
right.
better.
Yeah, it was a bit of improvisation. No, not improvisation. Spontaneous. Spontaneous. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, we'll consider this. Well, I can't really promise that we're going to be like on a regular basis, like constantly. Um, but we'll definitely take a look into that.
Okay.
As you might heard, there are some things that we are doing under hood. Yeah, how it's called, under or whatever it's. I don't remember this idiom. So there are some things that we cannot share much or cannot say about. But yeah, we're still here. We're still working. Life is Feudal, MMO, and your own. And well, actually, thank you everyone for being with us for that long. Because when we released MMO, we had a lot of naysayers saying that be ready for it to be closed in 3-6 months. But still,
Okay.
we're here. Yeah.
Okay. Then I'd say thank you all for listening, for sending your questions, and I will get my headset off now. I have the list of the questions still opened, and I can check if I can add some of the answers to it, but I won't watch the stream because I really, really hate to hear my own voice. So if someone wants to take that over and wants to yeah, create a summary with me together, then just send me a PM and we will take a look at it.
Yeah, and thank you very much, Healy, for actually. I I have communicated a lot with you via chat, but how you pronounce your nickname?
Um, the
Healy?
Germans, the German word would be just Ele, like Germany.
Hila.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
English Ele is also okay.
Hila. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Hila, for stepping up, for organizing all of that, and for moderating it, and well, actually for helping us a lot, not only with the currently, but all the time that you help us as a team and community answering the questions and sharing your knowledge and for being persistent also. It's quite also important, and that's what I respect you for, honestly. And well, thank you very much. That's all. And thank you very much to everyone for being here, for being with us, and uh, well, for being active and caring about the game. Yeah, pretty much that's it.
Okay. Then I'm out. Have a nice evening, and as usual, as I
Mhm.
said, if you have anything, send me a PM, but don't expect an answer. At least not in the same moment.
Yeah, well, yeah, probably the same. And yeah, to Ely, to you, and to everyone, stay safe, stay home. Yeah, that's everybody know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I hope everyone will be safe and will come through that craziness that's happening in real world. Okay, bye bye, guys. See ya.